Welcome back to Ahmedabad Real Estate Review, folks. We're your guides to the Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar property market, especially for you NRIs and investors out there.
That's right. This is episode number 5, and we're diving deep into something you really need to know about if you're buying property in Gujarat: ready reckoner rates and stamp duty.
These are things that can trip you up if you're not careful, so we're going to make sure you're totally in the know by the end of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're putting together this complex puzzle, right? You need all the pieces to fit perfectly. Well, the RR and stamp duty, those are like essential puzzle pieces in your property buying journey. You miss those, and the picture's not complete, you know?
You got it. No one wants to get stuck with surprise costs later on. So, first things first. What exactly is this ready reckoner rate, or RRR, we keep hearing about?
All right, so think of it this way. The government is like a referee when it comes to property values. They set a minimum value for properties in different areas. That's the RRR.
So it's like a baseline, a starting point?
Exactly. And it serves a really important purpose. It's there to stop sellers from undervaluing properties, just to save on taxes.
Makes sense. Keeps things fair, helps the government collect the right amount of tax. But how does this RRR actually affect me as a buyer, you ask?
Well, for starters, it directly impacts how much you pay in taxes, both when you buy and when you sell.
Oh, right. Like capital gains tax when you eventually decide to sell the property.
Precisely. And it also affects your registration fees. Even if you manage to negotiate a great deal on a property, if it's still higher than the RRR, guess what? The government uses that RRR as the base for their calculations.
So that RRR is really something you can't ignore.
Absolutely not. And speaking of things you can't ignore, let's talk about stamp duty.
Ah, yes, the cost of making that property officially yours. What's the deal with stamp duty here in Gujarat?
It's like a fee you pay to register your property ownership officially, making it legally binding. Think of it like a stamp of approval from the government that says, yep, this property is yours.
So how much are we talking about here?
The current rate is 4.9%. But here's the kicker. It's 4.9% of the actual sale price, or the RRR, whichever is higher.
Hold on. So even if I negotiate a fantastic price below the RRR, I still have to pay stamp duty based on that higher RRR.
You got it. And don't forget the registration fees. That's an extra 1% on top of that.
So in total, we're talking at least 5.9% on that higher value, either the sale price or the RRR. That's not insignificant.
Definitely not. And if the property is in certain urban areas, there's an additional surcharge of 0.5%. Just something to keep in mind.
All right, this is getting real. How about an example to make it crystal clear? Let's say I'm looking at a 1,000 square foot apartment in Ahmedabad, and the RRR for that area is 5,000 per square foot.
Okay, so the minimum valuation for that property, according to the RRR, would be 50 lakhs. Now, let's say you negotiate a deal for 48 lakhs. Even though you got a lower price, the stamp duty will be calculated on 50 lakhs because it's higher.
So I'd be paying 4.9% of 50 lakhs as stamp duty, which comes out to $2,045,000, plus a registration fee of 1%, another $50,000.
You're looking at almost 3 lakhs just for these two things. See why understanding these rates is so important.
Absolutely. All right, now let's talk about some real-world situations, particularly for our NRI listeners who might be dealing with this from afar. What kind of traps should they watch out for?
Well, one common one is what we call the undervaluation temptation. Some sellers might suggest showing a lower price on paper to save on stamp duty.
Sounds tempting, but why is this a bad idea, especially for the buyer?
It's illegal. And if you get caught, you could face heavy fines, legal troubles, and even problems when you decide to sell the property later. It's just not worth the risk.
So stay honest and above board.
Well, exactly. Another thing to watch out for is how these rates can suddenly change.
Oh, right. The government can revise those RRs whenever they want. Imagine you found your dream property, put down a deposit, but then boom, the RRR jumps up before you complete the purchase.
That's going to bump up your stamp duty and registration costs, even if the property price stayed the same. Staying informed is key. And the last thing, and this is something a lot of people get confused about, is the difference between the RRR and the actual market value.
Yeah, it's easy to think the RRR is like the going price for properties in an area. That's not always the case.
Right, especially in popular areas like along SG Highway or in the western parts of Ahmedabad, the market value is often way higher than the RRR.
So don't let the RRR lull you into a false sense of security when it comes to budgeting.
Exactly. Always do your research, compare prices, and know the real market value before you commit to anything.
So for our NRI listeners who are tuning in, what are the key takeaways you want them to remember?
Okay, number one, Always check the latest RR for the area and the type of property you're interested in. You can find this information on government websites and real estate portals.
Got it. What's next?
Your offer should be based on the actual market value, not just the RRR. Do your homework, check recent sales data, and understand what similar properties are going for in that area.
Makes sense. Don't underestimate the importance of thorough research.
And this is crucial. Factor in all the costs when you're budgeting, not just the property price.
Yeah.
That includes stamp duty, registration charges, GST if it's under construction, even legal fees.
Don't get caught off guard by hidden expenses.
Last but definitely not least, get yourself a good local real estate lawyer. They can help you with all the legal stuff, make sure everything is done properly, and give you peace of mind knowing you're in safe hands.
That's sound advice, especially if you're managing your investment from overseas.
Absolutely. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
So that's our breakdown of ready-reckoner rates and stamp duty in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. We hope we've cleared up some of the confusion and given you the knowledge to make smart property decisions in Gujarat.
We hope you found this episode helpful. Remember to hit that subscribe button for Ahmedabad Real Estate Review so you don't miss out on our future episodes.
And remember, everything we've discussed today is for educational purposes only.
Real estate rules and regulations can change, so always check with official sources and consult with professionals before making any decisions.
Join us next time on Episode 6, where we'll be talking about how to negotiate property prices like a pro. Until then, happy investing.